Welcome back, guys. I'm Zell, and today we've got some new knives from Kershaw to talk about. Alright, before we pull back the wrappings, you guys know, if you've been watching the channel or watched any of the older videos, that Kershaw and I have been kind of at odds. The majority of the Kershaws for 2016 and even 2015, the few of those I had, were all, with the exception of a couple, pretty crappy. And you know, I didn't do anything special. I just purchased knives just like you would have. I didn't get them from Kershaw. I just went to the retailer, which is what I try to do with most knives. There are some that are a little different, but most knives, I try to go to the retailer and purchase them just like you do, so that I get the same experience you do, and I have the same odds of getting a crappy knife or getting a great knife. You know, and we've talked about Benchmade, and we've talked about CRKT, and we've talked about Kershaw. And on the bright side, we've also talked about Ontario, and we've talked about Browse blades and how some of those knives just come out awesome every time, and Kaiser and Wee, and you know, it's one of those things. But anyhow, I have 4 of Kershaw's 2017 models. In fact, we're going to go for a big 5. I've got 5 models for Kershaw for 2017, and let's get a look at them. Let's see if Kershaw's turned that corner. Let's see if they're giving us quality stuff. So there they are, guys. We have the Flourish, Flitch, Pub, and Fraction. And, I said 5. Don't have room in frame there, but we'll throw that one up. The Dividend. The Dividend doesn't really count. It's a made in the USA Kershaw, and made in the USA Kershaws are dang near always good. Your odds of getting a bad made in USA Kershaw are much lower than a Chinese-made Kershaw. And I really started picking on Kershaw, Cricket, all these companies that contract China for some of their knives because of Ganzo, Wee, Kaiser, Stedman, and several of the other Chinese companies that are just, on average, producing much better knives. You know, Ganzo, they have some hardware problems. They tend to have soft hardware in their knives, but they always produce. And there go the girls. Nixie, Chloe, share, please. Thank you. I'll throw a picture of them up here. Anyhow, Ganzo has that soft hardware problem, which, Ganzo, figure that out. You've got starting to get some really good designs. We need to get that figured out so that your knives can be stellar in that budget category. But today we're talking Kershaw. And Kershaw has upped the game. First off, let's look at the cheapest one, the Pub, $10. Now, this is kind of a neat little Sinkovich design, and it's, I don't know how terribly useful it'll be. It's more of a carbiner of sorts that you can hook to your backpack or your belt or your keys. And, you know, it's got a bottle opener on the end of it. It's got a place here to use as a flat screwdriver. Kind of a neat little device, but the cool thing, check this out. Look down through there. Perfectly centered. Well built. This thing feels tough. Feels good. Now, it is a somewhat friction folder. What would we really call it? It's more of a slip joint. We do have a ball detent right here, but it does not lock. And nice little Warncliffe blade. But the best thing is the action is really good, and it centers up well. And it just feels like quality. This little knife feels like serious quality, and Yeah, it's still 8CR13 MOV, but guys, $10. Kershaw knocked it out of the park with this one if you can find a use for it. Next up the scale, we have this Anzo designed Fraction, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. And not only is it a move up the scale in every way for Kershaw, this is a manual flipper on the KVT bearing system, G10 with carbon fiber overlay. Got some pretty nice little pillars in there, and those two dogs are fighting over this little red bone, and it's just hilarious. I'll try to get them to quiet down, but it's probably not going to work. Sorry, guys. And they're fighting friendly. They're not trying to hurt each other, by the way. But anyhow, we got some really nice design work here. And look at that. Blade centers up. Action works well. Now, one note on this one. The action was very, very tight whenever I first got it. It took some breaking in. But look at this. When have we seen a $30 Kershaw or any brand do this? Beautiful. It's just amazing, guys. All right, so let's move up a little bit. We've got the Flourish. Now, this is a big old knife. And same deal, though. We've got carbon fiber. It's been milled a little bit. Or not carbon fiber. G10's been milled a little bit. And then we got a carbon fiber overlay. Nice design. Very nice design. And this one is assisted. And look at that blade. I mean, that thing is beautiful. Yeah, still 8CR13 MOV, but look down in there. All centered up. No blade play. And I haven't touched any of these with any tools. This little one I did drop some oil down in because it was really stiff whenever I first got it, but it has loosened up since. But yeah, look at that. Very, very nice design. Now we'll do full reviews of all of these, but I just wanted I wanted Kershaw to have the chance to redeem themselves. You know, I spent so much time last year fussing about them and Cricket and other brands, and comparing them to Ganzo, who's for the most part pulling it off at a really, really respectable price. And I wanted to give them a chance to shine, I guess. But anyhow, that was the Flourish, and here is the Flitch. Now this is a little simpler design. It's all G10. It has been milled some. It's got a nice texture. And look down there again. All centered upright. Very well built. Very good hardware. Assisted, and the action works good. And look at that blade. Don't have any of that black wash or any of that on it, but look at those grinds. My God, man, that is a beautiful blade. Beautiful. So, we'll go to back out here a little bit and lay these out open for you, because Kershaw, in my opinion, with the knives I've seen, now granted, I have not seen everything from Kershaw for 2017, but what I did was I went and I bought 4 of the Chinese knives. I, of course, bought the Dividend, a U.S.-made knife, knowing that it was going to be pretty good. And my expectation was that 2 of them would be in decent shape, and 2 of them would have to get sent back to Kershaw, and I would be doing this video mad. That is exactly what I thought whenever I laid the order in. I figured that this one would be junk. If you remember the little Hinderer kind of pub design from last year, that thing was junk. Great Hinderer design, horrible execution from Kershaw. And that's exactly what I expected. But apparently, I'd love to take credit for Kershaw stepping up their game. And maybe they did watch some of the videos. Maybe that put the bug in their ear. But what really happened was the return rate. And, there's 2 different return rates, and they kind of go together. But there's a return rate where you get a knife, it doesn't work, and you send it into Kershaw. And that one generally, with Kershaw's $30 and less knives, that one generally doesn't get too bad, because the person sending it in is going to have $5 to $8 in sending it in. If you're in the U.S., you're going to have to wait 6 or 8 weeks. So most people on a $30 knife, if it doesn't work quite right, they just live with it until it's junk and throw it away. But there's also the return rate from the resellers. Now, this one can get big, because, you know, Kershaw sells through all kinds of different places, especially your discount stores. You know, your Walmarts, your Targets. I don't know if Target sells knives. Probably not. They're way on the fringe left side, not here in the middle with the rest of us. So they probably don't. But, I take that back. They probably sell Swiss Army knives with little flowers on them. But other than that, probably nothing. This would be too scary. But they sell knives anyhow. They sell knives through lots and lots of different channels. You know, your big sporting goods stores, probably all of them. Definitely your MC Sports, your Academy Sports, your Bass Pros, your Cabela's, Dick's. I mean, all of those places and all of your discount stores that sell knives, Kershaw's got them in there. And average Joe buys a knife, it doesn't work right, he turns around and returns it to the store, and the store can't resell that knife at that point. They collect so many pounds or so many number of things, and they send them back to the manufacturer, or they charge them off with the manufacturer, depending on what kind of deal they have. Either way, the manufacturer loses money, but the retailer does not. It's it's just the way business works. So that is my guess on what happened. Is last year or so, Kershaw has had a return rate or a repayment rate for their retailers that's just been crazy, and you got to do something about it, and they have. This one right here, this is to build this knife is, especially this blade, is not a simple process. That's a multi-step process to get what you see there. And they're selling it for $30, and it's working, and it's all in good shape. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the whole thing. This little Anzo, my God, man, I wish this thing was just a little bit bigger. More the size of these, or blade length of these. Another ½ inch or inch of blade length, and had a deep carry pocket clip on it. This would be a killer knife at that size. But anyhow, Kershaw's killing it, guys. I mean, they have the opportunity still to fall off the wagon, because I'm sure throughout 2017 we'll end up with some more Kershaws around here, and who knows, we could get another bad one. But we're batting 1,000. And that has never happened for me with Kershaw, especially with their Chinese knives. Normally, their U.S.-made knives, they probably bat up around 800, which is good. But Chinese knives are generally 50-50 or less. So, anyhow, guys, I hope you enjoyed this first look at some of these Kershaw knives, and we'll get to reviews on them really soon. I'm really impressed, Kershaw. You have done it right, and thank you. Thank you for not leaving the budget knife consumer out. I really appreciate it. They're going to really appreciate it. And you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.